Governor Abbott is not trying to strengthen worker protections against record-breaking heat. He signed a law this week eliminating local rules requiring water breaks for workers.
Let's head over to Texas. We'll stay in the South, where a record-breaking heat wave is entering its third week in Texas. Temperatures are reaching the triple digits in the broader U.S. South, and tens of thousands of people in these states are now without power and lack air conditioning. More than 40 million people in the U.S. are under a heat alert, and Texas cities have reached an unprecedented heat index. This information coming from The Guardian. The heat index combines temperature and humidity. Corpus Christi hit 125 degrees Fahrenheit. The Rio Grande Village notched 118 degrees Fahrenheit, and Del Rio marked 115 degrees Fahrenheit. States including New Mexico, Louisiana, Arkansas, Kansas, and Missouri are also experiencing scorching heat, with the National Weather Service predicting the temperature to rise further and last into the week of the 4th of July. The heat follows a weekend of destructive storms, which is why people have been left without power. Hundreds of thousands of people, in fact, left without power. The heat dome, as it is known, has settled above Mexico and parts of the U.S. Southwest and is caused by hot ocean air that has become trapped in the atmosphere. Earlier this week, Texas's power utility, this is how hot it is in Texas, their power utility grid urged users to cut back on air conditioning to alleviate stress on the grid. Emergency crews in Tulsa, Oklahoma have responded to a record number of calls owing to the heat and lack of power, according to the New York Times. And in Jackson, Mississippi, residents reported not having power and air conditioning for nearly 100 hours, according to NBC. So amid all of this, amid this record heat wave, what is Texas Governor Greg Abbott doing? He is not trying to strengthen worker protections against the literally record-breaking heat. Instead, he signed a law this week eliminating local rules requiring water breaks for workers.
Golly, talk about timing.
Seriously, at least wait until next year to do it. Or, well, I mean, you know, this kind of stuff is going to be happening more and more, so there's really not going to be another time that would be good to do it. Maybe you could do this in the winter and it wouldn't be so stark. But the measure that's going to take effect later in the year will nullify ordinances enacted by Austin and Dallas that mandate 10 minutes, right? Just think about how little is being asked of employers here. 10 minutes every 4 hours for workers who are, you know, out in the heat. And it also prevents any other local governments from passing similar worker protections. So we're not even talking about repealing a statewide law that has been enacted. We're talking about the state of the state of Texas coming in and overruling
Local government.
such meager protections for workers in local governments that the cities have said that this is what we want to do, overruling what they decided that they want to do, and preventing any other local governments from passing similar legislation or similar ordinances.
Yeah, it sounds really, really familiar to Alabama.
Yeah.
Where Alabama Republicans, who again claim to be small government, time and time again, when people in communities, in cities and counties are able to do something to help their community, the state government intervenes and overrules, blocks, denies, prevents. We saw that with minimum wage. Birmingham raised their minimum wage. We had active raise the wage campaigns across the state, building momentum. And, you know, what did they do? The state government came in and passed a law preempting all that and saying that cities don't have that authority, that cities can't do minimum wage raises. They can't have ordinances that do anything that's going to actually make things better, basically. You have to just stick with the lowest common denominator that comes out of the legislature in Montgomery. And it sounds like Texas Republicans have a very similar philosophy.
Yeah. And, just days after this, the entirely predictable happened when a 35-year-old, so this is 35-year-old young man. This is a guy really near the prime of his life, right? 35 years old. A utility lineman working to restore power in Marshall, Texas, died after experiencing symptoms of heat illness. Now, Marshall, Texas, I don't think that they had these ordinances, so it's not as if we can say that, this law that he enacted that overruled these municipalities killed this person. But the death of this person illustrates the need for the protections that these municipalities were passing. And if he worked inside of a municipality that had these protections, it's possible that this young man would have been able to go home to his family had he gotten a water break, had he gotten that 10 minutes every 4 hours to cool off. Just the idea. I already said it, but it's just difficult, honestly, to wrap my mind around the idea that a 10-minute break every 4 hours to cool off and mandated water breaks is the kind of red tape that conservatives should be interested in removing. It's just absurd, because I can understand that there are some. I have no doubt that there are some regulations that don't make sense, or maybe made sense at one time and don't anymore, or are maybe too onerous, that they go farther than they need to. No doubt. Like, you would have to be kind of silly to argue that that's never the case. But the idea that in a state where you're getting temperatures like 125 degrees, that it is absurd to have water breaks mandated by law. It's just, wicked. So.
Yeah, the politicians who think that workers don't deserve water breaks are wicked, as are the employers who do not provide such breaks when they easily could and should, right? Employers shouldn't have to even be told by the city or the county or the state government that workers out in the heat all day in 100-degree heat need water breaks.
The Texas AFL-CIO said that this is an omen of what could come after the bill takes effect in September, and saying, quote, banning required rest breaks for construction workers in the Texas heat is deadly. And that's absolutely the case. There's no way to argue otherwise. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project. And you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.